Hi everyone, I'm Stace, Merry Meet. Welcome back to my channel. And today I want to share some exciting news with you all. So I've been with my other half, Warren, for 9.5 years now. And it seems like we would never, I mean, we have a really loving, strong, stable relationship. He's my best friend. We talk about everything, we share everything, and we have a wonderful relationship, and we're really lucky. It's really stable, and it's very rare that we argue. I mean, obviously we do argue because all couples argue, but it's very rare that we argue with each other, and we are just, yeah, I don't want to paint some wonderful picture perfect thing, because obviously all relationships have issues, all relationships have struggles, all families have struggles. So it's not like completely picture perfect. But we're very fortunate that we have got a really good, strong relationship. And the only elephant in the room really has been that we weren't progressing forward in our relationship. I mean, we have children, we have, you know, we own our house, we have, you know, lots of strong commitment and all of that stuff. But it's just, yeah, we weren't progressing in terms of us two. And that's always been a bit of a sore spot for me. Because I've never been married, and I wanted that whole legal and spiritual connection and commitment to each other. And I didn't think it would ever happen. So on the 28th of May, literally the night before I turned 40, because I always said to him that I want to be engaged by the time I'm 40. You know, I don't want to go into my 40s and still be not engaged and not be married and la la la. But I had just kind of resigned myself to the way that that's how it was going to be. And then Warren and my best friends organised a really lovely surprise party for my 40th. And I had no idea. And so I was sat at home ready. I knew we were going on a surprise night out, and I was sat at home. Warren had to pop out to do something in advance of my party, which I didn't know what he was doing, and he wouldn't tell me anything. He's really good at keeping secrets. Or I should say keeping surprises, because, you know, it sounds better than keeping secrets, because that seems like a bit of an off relationship thing. But he's really good at keeping surprises. And so he'd gone off to do something, and I had got ready to go out. I had no idea where we were going, just what I had to wear and everything else. And then he came home, and I was sat in the living room on the phone to my mum. And so I got off the phone to my mum, and he sat and wanted to have a chat with me, and he had this conversation about how our relationship had. So I've got hay fever, my nose is so itchy, and about how our relationship had progressed, and how he was really grateful that, you know, for all the effort and commitment and things that we've put into our relationship, and how you know, after 9.5 years, we are still trying to work really hard to keep making sure we're making our relationship stronger. And I was like, okay, because, you know, I'd had a conversation with him of a similar topic a few days earlier, because I hadn't been doing so well recently. There'd been lots of family stuff going on, including a death in the family. And so I had been quite emotionally unavailable to him for a few weeks. And so I wanted to make a point of sitting down and having a discussion with him and telling him how much I appreciated how supportive he had been, and how he'd really picked up the slack for me while I was focusing on other emotional difficulties within our family dynamic. So we sat and had this chat, and then for him to sit down 2 days later and initiate a similar conversation, it's not unheard of. It wasn't a surprise. It's a thing that we do. You know, we make a point of telling each other when one of us has been, you know, when one of us, for whatever reason, whether like it's a work commitment or a family situation or something like that, if one of us hasn't been able to pick up the slack and the other one has picked it up for us, then it is common for us to sit down and talk about that and express our gratitude and our appreciation to the other person. So having these kind of open conversations like this wasn't really a surprise. So when he starts talking about, you know, I really appreciate the conversation that you had with me the other day and everything else, and I just thought this is the first time he's had the chance to really say anything, because it's the first time we've had the house to ourselves for a while. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, you know, fine. Just normal stuff. And then he stands up and he pulls a box out of his pocket, and I'm like, oh, and he's like, so with that in mind, would you like to get engaged? And then he goes down on one knee, and I'm crying my eyes out by this point. Absolutely bawling my eyes out. And he's like, so is that a no? I was like, yes. And for some reason, we just carry on laughing. We carry on, and he's still down on one knee, and we're laughing, and I'm crying, and we're chatting. And I'm like, you must be in a lot of pain down there, because he had a lot of back issues. So I was like, you've got to be in some pain down there. Do you want to get up? And he's like, yes, please. And he's like, but first, let's do this. And so he's like, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. And he's like, well, unless you don't want to. I'm like, just give me the fucking ring. And so I hold my hand out like this. He holds the ring out like this, and then he's like this, all over the place. And I'm just like, give me that ring. And so yeah, so he put the ring on him, and he stood up, and we had a big hug and more tears. And I mean, literally to the point that I had to, he popped to have a shower before we went out. And whilst he was having a shower, I had to redo all of my makeup because I had cried so much. And I remember I phoned my mum, and she's like, why are you crying? I was like, because I got engaged. And I can't tell you. I never really knew what sort of propose, because you know, girls and even guys, you know, we kind of we think about what a proposal is going to look like, how it's going to happen, and I don't know, I never expected him to do the romantic gesture of going down on one knee when it was just us. And to him, it was very important that he proposed to us in our home, because that's our sacred space. So it was really important to him that that's where he wanted to propose, in our home, when it was just the two of us. But I never expected him to go down on one knee. And then when I phoned my parents, and then my mum told my dad, and then my dad's acting all surprised, and he's really like happy and excited, and like it's some great big shock. And then I get off the phone, and Warren's like, was your dad acting surprised? I was like, yeah, he's really surprised, he's really excited. He's like, that's really funny, because he's the only person that actually knew. So that was really sweet. I really loved the fact that despite the fact that we've been together for 9.5 years, he still called my dad and asked for my dad's blessing, which was really nice, because I kind of consider myself to be like, you know, modern woman, as you know, if you like, but I'm still kind of an old-fashioned girl at the same time. So I love the fact that he asked my dad's blessing, and that's really, really nice. And I think my dad basically said something like, yep, that's fine, but no returns. You can't return her. But I think if he hasn't returned me after 9.5 years, he's probably not going to. So I think we're okay. Like to me and my family and my friends, we all thought this would never ever happen. We thought this day would never come. And then the fact that he had planned this proposal, and you know, and he planned it months ago. And for months, he because I said I wanted to be engaged by the time I was 40, and it wasn't like we got to be engaged by the time I'm 40 or that's it. It was just like a, you know, a casual conversation, like, what are your wants for the future and that kind of thing. I was like, well, you know, I'd really like to be engaged by the time I'm 40, but it's probably not going to happen. And he took that on board. And so for months, he had been planning to propose to me the day before I turned 40. So that I would be engaged by the time I was 40, which was really, really sweet. And I love how much thought and effort he put into it, and how much he, you know, he really thought about what he wanted to do and how it was going to be, and it was really lovely. It was really romantic, and it was beautiful and amazing and everything that I could have asked for. So that's my long rambly engagement story. And I'm sorry if it is so long and rambly, but I'm not very good at articulating myself verbally. In the written format, I'm cracking at it, but verbally, I'm really not very good at articulating myself, especially not when I'm still so freaking excited. And I've been putting off doing this video just in the hope that I might calm down a bit and be a bit more sensible. But no, there's no calming down. So yeah, I've been putting off this video in the hope that I would just be a bit more chilled and a bit more together. But no, a month later and I'm still as high as a kite. And that's good. I don't want that feeling actually to ever go away. So yeah. Okay, I'm done. Thank you very much if you've managed to sit here and listen to all of this excited, jumbled rambling. I will see you in the next video. I will be doing some wedding content on this channel, specifically talking about the fact that we're having quite a unique wedding. So I will share some details about that on here as we go along. Okay, I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Blessed be. Bye.